welcome to my channel. My name is Kweku Darfoor, and I'm an attorney with Darfoor Law Firm. I practice in the state of Florida. My office is down here in South Florida in Fort Lauderdale. Today, I'm going to be speaking about rear-end accidents, right? And you know what that means, how much it's valued at. I've had clients come to me and say, hey, I got hit in the back. I know I'm gonna get a lot of money because it wasn't my fault. Well, that's not always the case, right? In Florida, there is a presumption that if someone hits you from the rear that they're at fault. So liability is usually not an issue in rear-end accidents, right? But there's still some factors that go into, determining the value of a rear-end case. And the two biggest factors ultimately are how bad you're injured and what the available insurance coverage is, right? If your injury is very bad and there's only a small policy, it's likely that you're going to get paid that small policy immediately, right? Because the insurance companies want to avoid situations where they basically have to pay above what the coverage is, right? And sometimes that happens. That's called bad faith action in Florida, when they clearly should have tendered the policy limits because of the severity of the injuries, but they failed to, and then they face this down the road, which is a bad faith action. So, it depends on the severity of your injury and the available policy limits. So let's say you're severely hurt, right? And the policy limits are $1 million or so. Well, your settlement is likely going to take longer because you're going to be treating for those injuries, and there's likely going to be enough insurance money available to cover for your injuries. So you may need to have a surgery, right? So you're going to have the surgery, and then you're also going to have to rehab, maybe physical therapy as well after the surgery. And you're going to have to see different doctors along the way, right? And then there's going to maybe have to be an expert that comes and say, this is going to be your future medical bills. You might have to have, some kind of care or so. So that takes a little bit longer. Also, you're going to have a lot higher medical bills that are going to have to be either negotiated down or work with at the end, right? So your process is going to take much longer than where it's a small policy only available, right? Or if the injury isn't as severe. So keep that in mind, all right? Now, your medical bills are, if they're small, they're going to be usually easy to resolve. I've had in situations where my clients have had astronomical bills, and sometimes the providers don't have any urgency to reduce those bills. So we have to get experts that have to go in and analyze the bills and really negotiate hard with these providers, a lot of times hospitals, to have them drastically reduce these bills, right? So even though your case may have resolved and the attorney may have received the check, there's still some work to be done on the bills and with them, perhaps maybe even your health insurance, because maybe your health insurance may have paid for some of your treatment, and the health insurance, puts a lien on your recovery. So that lien has to be negotiated by your attorney plus your other medical bills as well. So that may hold up, your settlement, you getting your settlement check, right? Or maybe even settling the case, because your attorney may want to get you a certain amount, and you may want to get a certain amount, but it's not possible unless they get the bills down to a certain amount, and then they can resolve the case. So that's another factor that goes into it, right? A lot of people think, hey, I got hit in the back by this person. It's clearly their fault. I should be able to get at least $100,000, right? Well, most rear-end accidents settle for much less than $100,000. There are instances where they do, and I've had clients that do. They likely had some kind of surgery, some kind of procedure. When the available policy was 100 or more, they got 100 or more. But generally, rear-end accidents are going to resolve for less than $100,000. So keep that in mind, okay? I hope that you enjoyed the information I shared today. If you liked the information here, please go ahead and click the subscribe button below, right down there. Go ahead and do it.